This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 18th day of March in the year 2026. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Over 4,500 farmers have benefited from improved technology under the Sustainable Agriculture Development Program, which is an initiative that was rolled out by the Ministry of Agriculture in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank. At an exit workshop today, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa said under the Sustainable Agriculture Development Program, farmers across the country reap tremendous benefits, with thousands now better equipped to increase productivity in a sustainable manner.
Over 4,600 farmers benefited from improved technology equipment and training, and hundreds of officers and technical officers in the Ministry of Agriculture and its agencies receive capacity building assistance to improve the provision of agricultural services. These advancements has improved the Ministry of Agriculture Extension Services and promptly offer farmers at the field level technical advice and assistance.
The minister also said since then, the Agriculture Ministry has launched an app, Farmers Connect, to provide farmers with access to information on market prices, weather updates, and pest and disease alerts. Through the app, farmers can also receive guidance on crop selection based on soil conditions. With the Agriculture Ministry and the IDB preparing to wrap up the program, Minister Mustafa expressed satisfaction that the program has achieved its intended objectives.
The SATP clearly achieves the objective of assisting farmers to enhance their productivity and improve their livelihood. Also strengthening our agriculture institution and modernize the systems that guide the agricultural sector in Guyana.
He said it not only addressed growth in production, but also promoted a sustainable use of natural resources. Guyana, he noted, continues to demonstrate that it can fulfill its global obligation to the Sustainable Development Goals, while simultaneously advancing agriculture, empowering its people, and safeguarding the protecting of the environment. Inter-American Development Bank country representative Lorena Salazar Solorzano thanked the Guyanese government for allowing the IDB to support the country's agriculture sector through strategic investments focused on training and development.
The program has supported strategic investments aimed to strengthening the foundation of a modern, productive, and resilient agricultural sector in Guyana. And these are not isolated interventions. Together, we will reflect about the broader vision, a sector that is better informed, better equipped, institutionally stronger, and more prepared to respond to the needs of farmers, consumers, and markets.
And noting that the program was 100% aligned with the government's 2025 to 2030 strategic plan for the agriculture sector, the IDB official said significant focus was also placed on strengthening the agricultural data and information systems. Policymakers and farmers alike, she said, are now better equipped with information on the sector to make informed decisions in the agriculture sector across the country. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Deck the halls with Bowser.
This is your time.
Yeah, but we didn't get all we needed last Christmas, and now we can.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Let's renovate our home and purchase appliances.
And plan a trip with the kids.
Or buy a new car.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza. Same day approvals. Apply in person or safely online. Plus a chance to win lots of prizes. This is your time to get what you need. Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
What time is it? Teddy Bear Sundays presents Respectfully Yours.
like this disrespectfully. Don't get in a party.
Who's in the building? DJ Aquilo birthday celebrations Saturday, March 21st at Royal Lounge, Chinese Mall, Georgetown. Entertainment by Super Ray, one-man band. Selector Big Papa, DJ Denzel, Father Moe, Gully Raz, and Moose. Lots of teddy bears, giveaways, and much more. So remember, it's the Girls Teddy Bear DJ Aquilo birthday party. Saturday, March 21st at Royal Lounge, Chinese Mall, Georgetown.
Like this disrespectfully. Don't get in a party.
We finance everything with Quartz Ready Finance. From educational expenses and those unplanned emergencies. Get it done with financing through Quartz Ready Finance. All you need to apply is a valid ID, proof of income, proof of address, and 2 references. Get quick approval and flexible monthly installments, plus credit protection insurance. Apply in store or online at quartz.com. Quartz Ready Finance. Ready when you are. Conditions apply.
STEM sits at the heart of oil and gas operations, where science, technology, engineering, and maths come together to solve real-world challenges. Embracing STEM builds confidence, talent, and national capability, and its impact goes beyond the energy sector. STEM helps protect our environment, improve safety, and support smarter decisions for Guyana's future. That's why oil and gas companies are invested in STEM opportunities for young people, because the skills we build today shape the nation we become tomorrow. Since oil production started offshore, oil and gas companies have been investing in the long-term development of Guyana. For more updates, visit www.oilnow.gy.
The opposition APNU, a partnership for national unity, has activated a legal team comprising more than 8 lawyers to provide legal assistance to the more than 50 families who were instructed to remove from a disputed land in the village of Friendship on the east bank of the Marara. This is according to attorney at law and member of parliament Dexter Tada, who along with a number of other APNU MPs visited the affected residents today. One day after heavily armed police and court marshals moved into the Friendship community to oversee their removal and the dismantling of the buildings based on a court order. The land, occupied by more than 120 persons, is reportedly owned by Roselle de Leon Investments, but the residents are contending that they have been living there for decades. In an interview today, MP Todd said the matter is not a political issue, but rather a legal issue. He said cognizant of that fact and the fact that many of the affected persons may not be able to procure the services of a lawyer, the APNU has taken up the challenge to provide them with legal representation.
So we have 120 persons who have been affected, and we are going to start to be able to strategically help 20 by 20, and in terms of filing an action, in terms of being able to clarify some, and I'm telling you, based on what we've been hearing, it's going to venture into a number of areas. It's going to venture into criminal acts. It's going to venture into civil acts. And so what we are going to do as a party, what we're going to do is to mobilize our legal team, which has already been activated already, myself, and we have over 7 other lawyers.
The opposition MP assured that nothing would be done to violate the orders of the court, but the party, through a battery of lawyers, will carefully examine the issue and take appropriate legal action.
Anything we do, we cannot fly in the face of the court, and you can't violate a court order. We still operate in a hierarchical structure in this country, so that if one is dissatisfied and if one believes that fraud was committed on the face of the court, meaning that someone misrepresented facts, in order to get the court to make an order, then there are legal recourse to be had to be able to rectify that. And so that is what I have said to them.
Meanwhile, in a statement, a member of Parliament, Sherrod Duncan, said what he witnessed yesterday in a squatting area in Friendship is not just a legal dispute over land, but a deeply distressing humanitarian situation, explaining that families have been displaced and their belongings were left exposed to the elements.
While questions of law and land ownership and court orders are matters for the legal system, the human consequences of those actions cannot be ignored. These are Guyanese families, many of whom have lived in that area for years and now facing sudden displacement with limited to no immediate alternatives. The conditions under which they are currently living demand urgent attention and intervention.
MP Duncan said the government in this year's budget said its guiding principle is putting people first, and that principle must now be taken and put into practice.
The government, it has outlined ambitious housing targets, including the construction of thousands of homes this year. It is therefore both reasonable and necessary that the affected families at Friendship be prioritized within this national housing framework. Guyanese, this is not an overwhelming number of households. It is a manageable situation that with political will and coordinated action by the Ministry of Housing, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, and other relevant agencies can be addressed, must be addressed in a humane and structured manner.
The APNU Member of Parliament also challenged the government to act decisively to engage the affected families. Duncan said those displaced ought to be given access to safe and service housing solutions. Today's cross-examination of the Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Sharon Rupchan, in the ongoing Mohameds extradition case came down to a diplomatic note dispatched by the government of Guyana to its U.S. counterparts, seeking assurances that U.S. indicted businessmen Nazar and Azruddin Mohamed will not be extradited to a third state without the consent of the Guyana government. As the case continued in the Georgian Magistrates Court before Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman, Defense Attorney Roysdale Ford questioned the Permanent Secretary on Note Verbal number 1680-2025, which was dispatched by the government of Guyana through the Foreign Ministry to the U.S. government on the 3rd of December 2025, more than a month after the extradition hearings had commenced in the courts. Under oath, Rupchan told the court that a diplomatic note was drafted by the head of the ministry's legal department in consultation with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hugh Todd. She said once the note was drafted and finalized, she caused it to be dispatched to the U.S. Embassy. The attorney for the Mohameds suggested that in the note verbal, the government of Guyana did not seek any assurances from the U.S. government in relation to the father and son. But when she responded in the affirmative, Ford then sought to ascertain whether the Guyanese government sought an undertaking from the U.S. The question was met with an objection from Special Prosecutor Herbert McKenzie, who told the court that the question was asked and answered. He argued that assurances and undertaking should be seen as one of the same. Magistrate Latchman, however, permitted the question, but the Permanent Secretary in response maintained that express assurances were sought. Pressed on the issue by senior counsel Ford, Rupchan opted to read a section of the note that was eventually tendered into evidence. Quoting a section of the note, Rupchan said the government of Guyana requests confirmation from the government of the United States that this provision will be upheld should the aforementioned individuals be extradited into the U.S., while the government of Guyana is assured of the strong commitment of the government of the United States to honor its obligations under the treaty and its general obligations under international law. This request is made as a precaution to ensure that should the issue be raised during the proceedings, expressed assurances from the government of the United States can be produced to the court without delay. It was explained that provision alluded to in the note relates to the provisions under the Extradition Treaty between the U.S. and the United Kingdom and the Fugitive Offenders Act. Rupchan testified that the U.S. later responded to the diplomatic note. Outside the courtroom, the defense attorney told reporters that based on the evidence before the court and Rupchan's testimony, the governments of Guyana did not satisfy the conditions set out in Section 8 of the Fugitive Offenders Act for the accused businessmen to be extradited.
Question of assurance is at the center of this matter. It forms one of the safeguards that are specifically required in Section 8 of the Fugitive Offenders Act. It is our opinion that what would have transpired between the government and the United States firstly does not satisfy the statutory conditions necessary for a precondition, and it cannot be satisfied in the manner in which the government purported to do it.
But prosecuting attorney Glenn Hanneman said the government of Guyana not only sought as a precaution the assurances from the U.S. that the accused men will not be re-extradited to a third country without the consent of the minister, but also received the assurance from the U.S.
Just as a precaution, in this particular case, they were given an assurance for the Mohameds that they were not going to be extradited to a third country or for any other offense. So the law speaks about arrangements between countries for this not to happen. So that would be an example of one such arrangement.
He said the issuance of the diplomatic note was an attempt by the government of Guyana to protect the Mohameds from re-extradition. Hanneman today again complained that the attorneys for the Mohameds have been deploying a number of tactics to delay the case.
Clear for everyone to see that this is their strategy.
In the court today, he pushed for the hearings to take place on Thursday and Friday. However, the defense attorney indicated that he would be unavailable on Thursday due to another court case. He also submitted to the court that the Mohammeds are Muslims and will be observing Eid al-Fitr on Thursday or Friday once the moon is sighted. Both Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed told the court that they have been devout Muslims almost all their lives, and the day is of great significance to them. According to the elder Mohammed, Muslims do not work on Eid al-Fitr. Hanneman, however, contended that it is not a national holiday, but Magistrate Latchman said the court must respect the religious beliefs of persons. The case has been adjourned to next Tuesday, the 24th of March. Attorney General Anil Nandlal has welcomed the unanimous decision of the Court of Appeal, which yesterday dismissed the appeal that was filed by the Mohammeds in one of their extradition matters, which claimed bias by both the Home Affairs Minister and the Attorney General over the issuance of the authority to proceed with the extradition matter. During his weekly Issues in the News program yesterday, Mr. Nandlal said the court accepted the respondents' submissions and the rulings were consistent to the arguments which he proffered in public on repeated occasions. The Attorney General said he believes that the ruling paved the way for that aspect of the matter to be put to rest, at least for now, even as he expressed some disappointment with the core of the extradition case currently making its way to the Georgetown Magistrates Court.
Unfortunately, we still have the matter in the Magistrates Court, and in my view, the matter is languishing there, unfortunately and unnecessarily. The last 3 days you heard, as I said at the beginning of the program, time being spent, energy being spent, judicial resources being spent on trying to establish that this request did not come from America, that the documents were somehow manufactured somewhere at Home Affairs or Foreign Affairs Ministry. Ridiculous contentions when the Court of Appeal, the High Court have said that the request came. They have said in their documents to the court on the oath that they are challenging a decision, an extradition process emanating from a request that came from the United States of America to the government of Guyana.
The Attorney General said the Mohammed's arguments were bound to fall flat, pointing out that the arguments were put forward at the Magistrates Court and later at the High Court and the Court of Appeal, and he said they were all extraordinary. He said based on his chamber's arguments in the latest appeal was that the laws of extradition of Guyana do not change depending on who the subject of the extradition may be.
He said it over and over again. These submissions are not worthy to be made in a court of law. And that's what the court is telling them. To say that this contention is preposterous is to be generous. keep that as a quote for me, please.
The Court of Appeal yesterday awarded costs totaling $1.5 million each to the Attorney General and the Home Affairs Ministry. And back in February, the High Court awarded $500,000 in costs each to the Attorney General, the Home Affairs Minister, and the Magistrate Judy Latchman. The Attorney General said he will be fully pursuing those costs as of today and will take additional actions if those costs are not paid.
So in total, you have 3 and 4.5 million in costs already awarded by the court, and not a dollar has been paid. I wrote a letter to Roysdale Ford dated 11th of March 2026 in which I pointed out to him that the cost order made by the learned Chief Justice states that the costs should be paid by the 27th of February 2026, and that as of the 11th of March we did not receive any payment as per the order of the court. I requested payment to be made forthwith. We have not received a response from this letter. I said in the letter that if payment is not received, the necessary steps will be taken to enforce the order.
The extradition hearing, meanwhile, continues in the Magistrates Court.
Linden is moving forward. This April, the Linden Chamber of Industry, Commerce and Development presents a week of pure innovation. It kicks off with the Linden Business Forum on the 22nd of April and 23rd at the Watuka Complex. Join us as we unlock sustainable development opportunities and transform business beyond boundaries. Calling all young visionaries. Are you 21 or under? Pitch your idea at the forum for the 2026 Youth Innovation Award. You could win a grant of up to $1 million and get free exposure to the oil, gas, and emerging industries. Then, from the 24th of April to the 26th, head over to the Retrieve Ground for the Linden Town Weeks Business Expo. Showcase your products, find solutions, invest, inspire. For more information, contact 444-2901 or 6019964. Sponsored by the Government of Guyana, UMAMI, IDB, and Banks DIH.
Don't keep clutter around your stove. Flammable items like paper towels, cloth, and packaging should always be kept at a safe distance.
Team Extra presents its annual Easter Sunday Creek Explosion, performing live from Jamaica, Javinci. Granny Ivy and JJ Vibes. Music by DJ Bobby Cush, DJ Papa Feelings, DJ Magnum, DJ Garwin, David Hype, and Janus. Girls Dance Off Competition first prize $50,000, second prize $30,000, and third prize $20,000 at Azeza Akuza Creek outside Splashman's on 5th April, Easter Sunday. Early birds. Ticket $3,000. Tickets location White Castle Fish Shop, Fireside Suites, Just Your Size Boutique, HJ Box Office, Short Boss Boutique, and Team Extra Stabrook Market. Compliments of Fireside, Grill and Chill, Extra Ginger Ale, and Czar Lager Beer. Be a leader. Be a leader. Be a leader.
Dad knows with Bowser.
This is your time. Yeah, but we didn't get all we needed last Christmas, and now we can.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Let's renovate our home and purchase appliances.
And plan a trip with the kids.
Or buy a new car.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza. Same day approvals. Apply in person or safely online. Plus a chance to win lots of prizes. This is your time to get what you need. Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
A 64-year-old man who was a guest of the Sleeping Hotel on Church Street was discovered dead in his room this morning after relatives contacted the hotel and asked that a welfare check be done on the man. The man has been identified as Desai Pankaj Dasrat, who worked with a mining company in the interior region. According to reports, he checked in at the hotel and indicated that he was unwell. He reportedly visited a doctor on Tuesday and was seen returning to the hotel on Tuesday afternoon. This morning, his family contacted the hotel and requested that a check be made on the man since they could not reach him. When the hotel got no answer from the room, the police were contacted and the man was found dead on the bed in the room. Police sources explained that an opened can of energy drink was found close to the man's body and one of his bags contained heart medication. There were no marks of violence found on the body and no evidence of foul play, the police source said. Let's tell you now that the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities partnered with ExxonMobil Guyana to host an entrepreneurship training program for persons who are blind and visually impaired. Held at the National Library on Tuesday, the workshop covered a number of strategic areas, including planning, marketing, customer service, and financial management. It also provided an opportunity for the trainees to explore new ideas and networking. This marked the second cohort comprising 32 persons who took part in the training program.
One of the things that we as the Guyana Council, we've envisioned is to establish a small business network of persons with disabilities to ensure that we can be unified in our advocacy approaches, and we can also benefit from the numerous opportunities that are there for business owners, whether you have a disability or not.
The program director of the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities, Ganesh Singh, said having done extensive work with the Small Business Bureau, which allowed persons with disabilities to access grants and other opportunities, the council is now looking to build a network of businesses.
That evolution over the past few years ensured that we now have an entrepreneurship component to the program, a job preparedness component, and a referral pathway for persons who are blind and visually impaired that are beneficiaries of the program. So let me break that down. When someone is registered and receives training through this program, they don't just leave with independent living skills, but they leave with hope of a brighter future.
He said with the government's recent announcement that the local content legislation is being revised to incorporate greater opportunities for women and persons living with disabilities, it is important for them to better position themselves to capitalize on opportunities within the oil and gas sector. It was also stated that the workshop builds on an orientation and mobility program that was launched back in 2022 by the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities, with support from ExxonMobil. That program helped persons who are blind and visually impaired to acquire skills to improve their mobility and independence. Over the past 4 years, the program has evolved, Singh said. It was further explained that beneficiaries of the program are referred to the organization's Vocational Skills Training Program, which allows them to access other programs through the Board of Industrial Training or the Basic Needs Trust Fund. The president of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry and chairperson of the Board of Industrial Training, Kathy Smith, lauded the initiative and said the workshop will lay the foundation necessary for persons with disabilities to tap into existing opportunities.
To me, it's not just a workshop that is happening here. It's us creating opportunities for persons with disability to ensure they have some form of independence, they feel a sense of dignity, and of course an opportunity for growth and development.
She urged the participants to grab at the opportunities to build their financial independence. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil Guyana Community Relations Supervisor Ryan Hoppy said Exxon is pleased to partner with the organization.
All right, and so for us at ExxonMobil Guyana, our community investment strategy centers on several things: STEM education, economic development, and building healthy and cohesive communities. Our aim is to ensure that our approach is inclusive, one that ensures that our investments create meaningful opportunities for all Guyanese, and that includes vulnerable groups.
He said that commitment forms the basis of Exxon's partnership with the GCODP, which dates back to 2019, when they partnered to set up STEM clubs for persons with disabilities. According to Mr. Hoppy, since then the partnership has evolved and now includes the Orientation on Mobility program. He said through those initiatives, lives are being changed and, more importantly, improved, and Exxon is pleased to be a part of the process. The president of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Justice Winston Anderson, has proposed the establishment of an international climate injuries compensation fund to be funded by corporate actors to provide compensation for damage and harm resulting from extraordinary weather events. The CCJ president presented the proposal while speaking at the Inter-American Seminar on Climate Emergency and Human Rights, Different Perspectives in Brasilia, Brazil. The seminar was hosted by the Inter-American Court of Human Rights and the Supreme Court of Brazil at the start of the 187th Ordinary Session of the Inter-American Court. It was also convened to discuss the implications of the Inter-American Court's Advisory Opinion Number 32 of 2025 on climate emergency and human rights. While accepting that the advisory opinion established concrete obligations for governments to regulate companies and businesses that contribute to the climate crisis, Justice Anderson expressed the view that the establishment of the normative framework was not enough. He noted that more was required at the practical level to ensure that small vulnerable countries in the Caribbean and in other regions of the world receive urgent assistance to recover from destruction caused by extraordinary weather events, such as that caused by Hurricane Melissa back in October of last year. The CCJ president said the proposed fund model outlines that multinational corporations and businesses which contribute to greenhouse gas emissions above a certain threshold would be required to make mandatory contributions to the fund by the state in which they operate. It was also explained that the fund would have legal personality and could be sued in the country where the extraordinary weather event caused significant harm or damage. Justice Anderson also suggested that the fund be established by a global convention modeled on the International Maritime Organization's International Oil Pollution Compensation Fund, which provides compensation for oil pollution damage at sea and is backed by ship owners of oil vessels.
Guyana, are you ready? Boom! Oh, Lord. This Easter Sunday, April 5th, the original Big People Party is back, and it's better than ever. This year, we're turning up with big vibes at the Guyana National Stadium. Introducing your headliner, performing live, the one, the only, Forma Napi. I want to go big people
for me. I wanna jump up all day, all night, I wanna wind up all day. How I live it, better than them. How I look it.
It is the biggest event ever for Easter 2026. Grown Vibes, Premium Energy, Real Celebration, hosted by DJ Aquilo and Killa Milla, and powered by the best one-man bands. Early bird tickets are available now. General admission, $4,000. VIP, $15,000. Get yours online at xjexperience.com or at official ticketing outlets nationwide. Don't you wait. Be there.
How it look, the girls? You girls out there, how it look? It fry very crispy and nice, right?
The original Big People Party, Easter Sunday, April 5th at the Guyana National Stadium.
This event is brought to you by Hits and Jabs Entertainment, Marvelous Entertainment, and GD Events.
The bigger the better
edition.
Big People Party!
Oh, it is my job. Welcome to Churches Who House Tonight.
20 years of churches, chickens, you and us, and there is nothing missing. So many friends and strangers pass through our doors, and they always come back for more. Guyana, the love keeps growing, and we thankful for the support you are showing. There's so many locations and much more to come. It's gratitude and celebration. Can you feel the love? 20 years of churches, chickens, you and us, and there is nothing missing. So many friends and strangers pass through our doors, and they always come back for more.
Guyana, up your cash! Over 100 winners! More than $2.5 million in cash and prizes up for grabs. Win cash every week. Plus a chance to up your cash to $500,000. And that's not all. Win back your grocery bill up to $20,000 cash every week. Just grab any Buster Turbo Energy Drink, Fruitopia, Oasis Flavored Water, Fruita, or Viva Sparkling Flavored Water. Look for the code starting with BB, then visit at Buster Guyana on Facebook or Instagram for details. Up your cash today.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guy is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guy's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guy Oil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future.
Feel spice power in every sip.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, explosions in cocaine labs near the border with Ecuador killed 14 people in January, Colombia's defense minister Pedro Sanchez said on Wednesday when asked to clarify accusations by Colombian President Gustavo Petro that an Ecuadorian security operation resulted in more than 24 deaths in the area. Sanchez said Colombian and Ecuadorian authorities are examining together whether sovereignty has been violated and that a bomb found in Colombia seemed likely to belong to Ecuador's armed forces. Petro this week suggested Ecuador had bombed Colombian territory, leaving behind 27 charred bodies, though he provided no further evidence or information. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa flatly denied the accusation, saying his country had bombed drug traffickers within its own territory
and the locations were hideouts for narco-terrorism groups of mostly Colombian origin. Ecuador on Sunday launched a 2-week-long security operation in 4 provinces on or near the Pacific coast to beat back gang violence. It has repeatedly held operations on its Colombian border, a major hub for trafficking of drugs that are then smuggled north to the U.S. by sea. Ecuador has said its anti-drug trafficking operations are supported by allied countries, including the United States. Noboa had repeatedly courted the backing of U.S. President Donald Trump for his anti-crime initiatives. Chile's new right-wing government has begun deploying heavy machinery to dig trenches along its northern border with Peru, moving to deliver on President Jose Antonio Cast's campaign pledge to crack down on illegal migration and increase military presence at the border. Cast, who took office last week, had promised during the campaign to install physical barriers at key border crossing points to stem unauthorized entries. On Monday, he inspected the start of the construction near the border, where he said the measures were aimed at restoring state control. Cast has said he intends to lead an emergency government focused on stabilizing public finances and tackling drug trafficking. Since taking office, he has issued several decrees tightening security along Chile's northern frontier. Irregular crossings had brought more than 180,000 people into Chile in recent years, Cast said, arguing the new barriers were necessary to halt the flow. And finally tonight, international news. Iran's huge Pars gas field was hit on Wednesday, a major escalation in the U.S.-Israeli war, prompting Tehran to announce it would respond with attacks on oil and gas targets throughout the Gulf. Oil prices shot up after the attack in a conflict that has already halted shipping from the world's most important energy-producing region and could now bring lasting damage to its infrastructure. Benchmark Brent crude prices rose around 5% to above $108. Stock markets veered lower. Pars is the Iranian sector of the world's largest natural gas deposit, which Iran shares with Qatar across the Gulf. Iran's Fars news agency reported that gas tanks and parts of a refinery had been hit. Workers had been evacuated to a safe location, and emergency crews were trying to put out a fire. State media later said the fire was under control. The attack was widely reported in Israeli media to have been carried out by Israel with U.S. consent, though neither country acknowledged immediate responsibility. Qatar, a close U.S. ally, which hosts the largest U.S. air base in the region, blamed the attack on Israel without mentioning any U.S. role. The Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesperson called it a dangerous and irresponsible escalation that put global energy security at risk. The UAE also denounced the attack. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.